So you smoked a pork belly.
I didn't go super sweet with this one. I just put it on the smoke. Didn't wrap it up. Just cooked it till it was done.
How do you know it's done?
Well, this one I wanted to slice, so I knew it was going to. Like most of the time, if you're taking it to where it's going to just be falling apart, shreddable, probably about 210, 212, something like that. There's a lot of fat to render in there and a lot to cook away. Well, I stopped this one a little short, like 202. And I was really going for that jelly feel, but I wanted it to be able to slice and not fall apart. So the fat renders, but there's still some of it there, and it holds it all together. It's kind of like a medium that helps hold that lean meat that's in there. And man, I'm telling you, when I took it off, I knew it was good just by looking at it on the pit.
It was jiggling.
It was jiggling. Took it off and let it sit and calm down as long as I could stand it, which it might have been 20, 30 minutes. And then I sliced it up on camera. Man, it's one of those moments. It's like, God, it's so good. It just melts in your mouth.
Welcome to Malcom Reed's How to Barbecue Right, a podcast where we talk about barbecue, share recipes, and discuss all things delicious. And now, here's your host, Malcom and Rochelle Reed.
Hey, welcome back to the How to Barbecue Right Podcast. I'm your host, Malcom Reed, and I'm joined by my lovely, talented wife, Miss Southern Shell, sitting right across from him. We got Tyler over here on the boards. What's happening this week, y'all?
Another day.
It's warming up. What were you going to say? Another day, another dollar?
Yeah, another day, another dollar.
We got a guest coming next week. We don't have one today.
Alonzo from Gulf Coast Smoke.
Looking forward to that.
He's coming and doing some cooking and doing some videos. And
we turned out some videos yesterday. Or we got them to the film stage. It's all on Tyler and his crews now and yours.
On my radar. I'll tell you what, the weather has been amazing. It is beautiful outside, but the pollen is kicking my butt.
Ooh,
like too. Hardcore.
I've been like squirting that Flonase up my nose, swallowing Zyrtex every 12 hours. That's all you can do. When I was sitting outside turkey hunting earlier this week, and the way the sun was coming down, I had a camera. I was trying to film, and it just looked like a rain mist of this yellow stuff coming off these pine trees. And I was like, holy crap, look at all this pollen that's in the air. And I'm just sitting there just soaking it in. Like that's where I need my SARS mask.
Yeah.
But I come back to the side by side we rode in on, and the black seats are just green. I was like, God, man, this stuff is rocking. It's that time. It's that time of year.
Every time we go out of town and come back, we're like, why do we live in the worst climate? It's miserable in the summer.
Head stay stopped.
Yeah.
It's either running or stopped up. It's never just right.
Allergies are terrible.
I washed my car on Friday, and then the following morning it was covered again. It was completely yellow. So
there's nothing you can do about that. It shows up bad on a black vehicle too.
Mm-hmm.
My truck looks horrible. It's okay though.
I don't ever notice. I just keep rocking.
Keep riding.
So you smoked a pork belly.
I did.
Another pork belly.
I was, you said we were going to talk about this week. I actually filmed it for a video. It'll be out next week.
Yeah, it won't come out till next week.
But I did one. I stopped it short. Like the first one I ever did, this was been Yellow Kitchen days.
I just looked up. What did I say, 2013?
Something like that. That's a long time ago, 12 years ago. That was the first video of a pork belly I ever did, was 12 years ago.
That's crazy.
I know. But it was, I did it like whole hog style. Like I was trying to duplicate the pork belly that we get when we cook a whole hog, where it's just all the fat's been rendered and it's just encapsulated the lean meat that's in there, and it just melts in your mouth.
I think you used it and made a sandwich with it, like
probably did.
Pulled pork sandwich.
Yeah, and it was, it's so rich and so, I know why you can't eat pork belly every day. It will kill you. It will kill you. It will kill you.
What about bacon?
You probably don't need to eat bacon every day. It ain't good for you too. But man, it's so good. With this style, I was kind of like, I wanted to keep that belly whole, but I know you've seen people do like pork belly like a brisket or whatever like that. It's pretty similar to that, to where you just get your seasonings on it, whatever you want. You put it on the smoker.
You kept it savory.
I kept it more savory. I didn't go super sweet with this one. And I just put it on the smoke. Didn't wrap it up, just cooked it till it was done.
How do you know it's done?
Well, this one I wanted to slice, so I knew it was going to, like most of the time, if you're taking it to where it's going to just be falling apart, shreddable, It's probably about 210, 212, something like that. There's a lot of fat to render in there and, a lot to cook away. Well, I stopped this one a little short, like 202. And I was really going for that jelly feel, but I wanted it to be able to slice and not fall apart. So the fat renders, but there's still some of it there, and it holds it all together. It's kind of like a medium that helps hold that lean meat that's in there. And, man, I'm telling you, when I took it off, I knew it was good just by looking at it on the pit. And
it was jiggling.
It was jiggling. Took it off and let it sit and calm down as long as I could stand it, which it might have been 20, 30 minutes. And then I sliced it up on camera. And, man, it's one of those moments. It's like, God, it's so good. It just melts in your mouth. The texture of it's unbelievable. It tastes phenomenal, but I made the mistake. I ate like 2.5 pieces doing that video.
And I'm talking like thick sliced brisket.
Oh, it hurt me so
style pieces. Yeah.
It just.
Yeah, but you brought it home and fed some to Michael and ate some more. I bet it was 3 or 4
it's
pieces.
Like crack. You can't quit it. That first taste, it ain't free, but if you just get it and it's like, you can't stop. It's like Lay's potato chips, Can't just eat one.
I remember back in the day, like when we did that recipe in 2013, we had to go, it was a big deal for us to source a pork belly.
Oh, yeah.
We went to Restaurant Depot.
That's where I bought it.
Yeah.
In Memphis. It hadn't been open long. It was pretty new then, the Restaurant Depot was.
It was now I went to Sam's and picked that pork belly up, and they had a pile of them. Now you can find them anywhere.
Kroger gets them every once in a while. I don't see them all the time in Kroger, but sometimes, and they're usually back when I bought that one, it was the whole pork belly. Mm-hmm. Now you see them, they'll have these little pieces of pork belly, which is way more manageable. I've even seen them have it cut up for you. They mark the price up on it, and they're selling it as pork belly burnt ends raw. So you can take them home for the weekend and do them yourself. You don't have to buy the whole pork belly and cube it.
Oh, so they're already cubed?
They're already cubed in a tray. Yeah.
It's called pork belly burnt ends?
Yeah. And one of the companies come out with some. It was, how they'll do those pre-trade meats, barbecue, whatever.
That are already cooked and sauce.
Yeah, they had pork belly burnt ends on one of them.
We need to get one and try.
It got to be where it was real controversial. There was these, I guess, brisket purists that were so mad that people were calling it burnt ends because they're saying, basically it's just cubed up pork. So I started calling them pork belly cubes or bites or whatever just to not offend people. But
why?
I don't know.
Offend them.
I don't know. I don't care what you call them.
Yeah.
They are delicious.
They're a delicious little bite of heaven.
Yeah, just when they're done right, they just melt in your mouth. It's like candy almost, like pork candy.
So you actually cooked. Did you cook 2 pork bellies or just
I split
cut it?
In half? So it wasn't a whole pork belly. It was I don't even know if it's half. It might have been a third of one, however it was packed, but it's about 8 pounds. I think it was, what did I tell you? It cost $28.
Right at 30. Yeah.
Right at $30. It's probably, I don't know what it was, a pound. I didn't look at that. You picked it up for me at Sam's. And I took it and I knew I wanted to slice it. Well, it's too big. If you're going to slice it into bacon, cure it, smoke it like that, and you'll have a nice big piece of bacon. But for what I wanted to do, that's too big a slice to serve. It would be way too big. So I just split it in half, and that way my slices were more serving size. And it made it easier, and I did them the same way. That's a great way if you want to play with the flavors or do one sweet, one savory, whatever you want to do.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
You can do it with that, or you can have another piece to do at a later time. But
and then
don't hesitate to cook some of that.
And you seasoned it with hot rub and steak rub?
No, TX, I think.
Hot rub and TX. I
just wanted the texture on the outside. So, it kind of was seasoned like a brisket. I didn't call it like a brisket, but kind of was. That's what I'd put on a brisket, a little hot rub for color and a dose of TX.
Then you put it on the Outlaw.
Put it on the Outlaw. Hickory wood, running 275. I think it took about 4.5 hours. It might have been 4:45, but it wasn't a super long cook, and I didn't do nothing to it.
Yeah,
I spritzed it with the little was it vinegar and water.
Mm-hmm.
I put apple cider vinegar in a spray bottle, half and half, that and water, just to dilute it a little. And if it looked dry when I peeked at it, I would squirt it down a little bit. But I probably didn't baste it, but twice maybe. Wasn't many times. And I put a probe in it about halfway through. I used one of those new, man, I love those new RFX probes I have. I've been waiting for a long time for a wireless probe that actually works, 100% works. And this one they came out with flat works. And I guess it came out last year.
It was right before Christmas.
It was like right at the end because we did that Christmas.
Yeah, we did a giveaway on one. Man, if y'all got those RFXs, chime in and tell me what you think about them, because so far I've got 4 probes and they all work lights out. I mean, I haven't had any issue. The only issue I've noticed is like you need to keep the transmitter fairly close to the grill you're cooking on. Because at one time I had it over on the bar and the probes were in the grill, and it's probably maybe 6 foot. That was a little far. But when I started moving it and setting it right on the shelf, like right outside the grill on the shelf, it works flawlessly.
No problem. You used it for several cooks.
Oh, yeah, I've used it for several things. I hadn't found a grill that it didn't work in yet. It's worked in the ceramic. It's worked in the Big Outlaw. It's worked in the Weber. It's worked in the pellet grill.
Works in ovens.
Tyler, you use it at home in the oven, don't you? And all you do, once you link it one time, it's set and forget. You just put it in, you pull up the thing, it shows up on your app, on your phone. You could be checking it wherever, as long as you got that in there.
If you have a rotisserie, that's a game changer.
And they don't even pay me to talk about that. I just like it. But it's a heck of that's been the best thermometer. I mean, Thermoworks is always.
Yeah,
ever since I found the first super fast thermopen, the red one I had probably 13, 14 years ago, I still got that too. It's in my knife roll. The very first thermopen, this was way before thermopen ones or the other ones they come out and all this. It was just the super fast thermopen.
It was a big deal to spend that $100
thermometer. 15 years ago, the $100 thermometer was crazy. But man, it's one of the most, besides my smoker, that's the tool I travel with. I mean, I'm going to use a thermopen.
Could you use that RFX in a ribeye, I guess?
I don't see why not. I mean,
it's going to leave a big hole.
Yeah, but do you really care? Like,
I'd rather have it done, nail that doneness.
If I was doing it for comps and all that, and I was like really worried about the holes going in the meat, like we used to be when we were cooking briskets and stuff like that. We didn't want you, or the money muscle, we didn't want you to see the hole in it. We were always looking for the smallest probe possible that wouldn't leave a hole. And so those bigger ones, but yeah, it leaves a little bit bigger hole. But I mean, I guess for the technology to work, it takes a bigger probe. It'd be harder to put a small one in, but maybe they'll get smaller as the technology goes. It really don't matter. I like them shorter instead of longer. The diameter of it, that's not that big a factor really. But anytime you got that probe really sticking out, it's like, man, it's
getting in the way.
It's tricky to wrap around if you're wrapping something. It's, you got to give it more space for the meat beside it or the grill door. Like some grills, I've got a pretty big piece of meat on there and I shut the grill. I ain't got a lot of extra space for something to be sticking out.
Oh, so you can wrap pork butt brisket with that in there, no problem.
You should be able to. I hadn't tried that.
Yeah.
Wrap it up with the probe inside the foil and see if it'll read. I bet it will.
I mean, you do that, but you usually have the cord coming out. Yeah.
Yep. You could probably do it. Or, I mean, it wouldn't. I need to test that. See if it works. Can I wrap up a butt?
In full.
Yeah, in full.
Not butcher paper, in full.
Paper, yeah.
And will it still transmit?
That's a good test for it.
So anyway, back to the pork belly. So you didn't wrap this pork belly at all?
No, I just let it cruise.
And then once it hit temp, you pulled it off?
I pulled it off and let it sit on a cutting board. I mean, actually, it was in like a little metal pan, but.
So if time was not an issue, would you have wrapped it up and put it in a dry cooler and let it rest, or?
I don't think so. I mean, if I was going to take it somewhere, I would.
Yeah, but as far as.
But if I was going to eat it right then, no, I just let it sit. I want it to cool off as much as it can because that's going to make it lock up a little bit because you're cooking it super tender. And if you want to slice it like I did, it needs to tighten up some. And so that's what the rest did. I'm sure I would have struggled. It was so jiggly. I mean, you need a super sharp knife. You don't want to be sawing at it,
Speaking of which, you need to sharpen some knives.
Yeah, I need to sharpen my knives. I noticed that yesterday on the video we did. I was cooking some bison. Oh, I got a bison video coming out. It's going to be a short TikToker. It'll probably be on hit every channel. It won't be long for them.
Bison picanha, right?
Yes, it was good too.
It was good. So the pork belly, it was delicious. and you had 2 pieces. So we cut up one. We ate it that day. Like everybody kind of ate some. We took a few, what was left home to Michael. And then you had that other half that you
just
wrapped it in foil.
Stuck it in the fridge.
Yeah, stuck it in the fridge. And then Saturday night, we fired up a grill.
We were having a meat-a-thon.
It was a meat-a-thon.
I was still in celebration mode.
What were you celebrating?
I got my first turkey this year. Yeah, that was the first turkey of the year, I should say. Friday afternoon. I forget what we did Friday, but I did
crawfish.
I had some. That was part of the celebration. First thing I did, Mikey was with me. We kind of tag team that bird. He was calling, I was shooting. I called a little too. He'll tell you I called a little. He calls it finesse calling. Because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just making soft sounds. I'm just trying not to scare anything and not to move. So he's always getting on to me about moving. He said, "You can't move when you're turkey hunting." And I'm old and fat. I had to shift around. Legs go to sleep, sitting on the ground. That's all right, though. We got that bird. So we went into celebration mode. We had a sack of crawfish already bought. Mikey's like, "All right, we're putting the gold tops up. It's time for brown liquor." So
and that's why we didn't do a live Friday night.
Yeah, we were going to do it live Friday night. We didn't announce it, but we were going to. But once I opened, I had a bottle of Blanton's just waiting for when I shot that turkey this year. And now I'm trying to get on number 2. I went this morning and gave me the dug-up slip. I went solo.
Anyway.
But we cooked crawfish that night, drank some whiskey. Didn't get up the next morning and go turkey hunting. I didn't have to. I already shot one. So Mark and his wife Emily came down Saturday night. And Mark said he wants to cook some stuff. So he's like, "I'm going to Home Place Pastures and I'm going to get some meat." So he got some big, thick pork chops, bone in. He got a tri-tip. He got some kind of
some sausage.
What was it, like garlic and red pepper sausage?
Yeah, garlic and red pepper.
And I thought, I didn't know how many people were going to be there. I was like, well, I didn't know if they were getting enough. So I thawed out some pork tenderloin. Tenderloin. I had that other half of that belly. And is that all we had?
I thought there was one other meat, but I can't remember what it was.
I don't know. It was
just a big tray
of meat.
It was like a cookie tray, just mounded with different kinds of meat.
So Mark said, "I'll cook it, you slice it." So I cut everything up, just had it piled up on there. We had so much stuff left over. But man, it was.
But let's talk about the pork belly. So you cooked it, put it in the fridge, pulled it back out.
When I unwrapped it, I was like, you know what? This kind of looks like bacon now. Because it didn't cure it. I didn't put enough salt on it to actually cure it. But when I sliced it, it looked just like thick cut. Have you ever seen the black pepper rind bacon?
Yes.
That's what it looked like. It wasn't raw because I cooked it to 202 degrees. You could have ate it cold.
But did it have the different colors like pink and white?
It wasn't. So it was more just kind of white and white. Yeah. You know what I mean? Different shades of it. It didn't have a cured look at all. So if you've ever seen the uncured bacon, that's what it looked like. And I was like, what would this be like if we just do these? Because I cut it thick, like about double thickness of a brisket slice. I said, we just throw these on the grill and you're just letting them warm up. You're not cooking them. You're just trying to warm them up. And the only problem I saw was if you put too much of that on there, that fat gets to warming up and it gets to dripping and it will turn a Weber kettle into an inferno.
Yeah.
So you got to stay with it.
Mark?
And it's like, he had a hot spot going, so he could put it over there. And he had those sausages. He smoked them and then he put them in a foil with some beer, some kind of juice or something, and had them steaming over on the side. And while he was cooking those pork chops, he got them done. We started putting that bacon on there and just letting them. It smelled so good. It had the whole county smelling like grilled bacon.
Mark said that he shut the exhaust or the intake.
He had to. It was flaming up so much we had to kill the air except for the exhaust. And
so he killed the intake. Mark said that he actually shut the intake completely down.
What was happening was it was dripping so much grease bacon fat. As it heated up, it was just stoking with the air coming to the bottom and the air getting out the top. It was just creating an inferno. So once he shut off the oxygen on the bottom, it slowed it all the way down. We still had the top open, so you still had some good heat. And we wasn't like we were trying to go 500 degrees. We weren't searing this stuff.
And you weren't cooking long.
No, and everything else was done. We were just warming that up. Man, once it got back, it kind of made it crispy on the outside a little bit in places, like where it was more heat. And the flavor, it tasted, I don't know, man. It was just grilled bacon.
It was so good.
It was even better.
It was way better
the second time than it was the first time. And I didn't even think that's possible. How can belly be better than belly on that?
Yeah. I think you should do a recipe on that. Like, smoke it, refrigerate it, come back the next day, slice it, and then char grill it.
Yeah. Then cool that and come back and batter it, deep fry. That's going to be triple threat bacon.
72-hour bacon.
So, you got to let it rest for overnight to get these chills down. It was so good.
It was so good. It tasted like a ribeye steak and a pork belly had a baby.
That's what it was. Yeah, exactly. That's like a great way.
A great ribeye steak and a really good smoked pork belly.
And then once it got, I think there was a piece or two of that left over, and it was cold in the refrigerator, and I couldn't bring myself to try it again because it was just like, it had done got so coagulated and greasy looking. I was like, I don't know. I think twice is enough. Maybe if I'd have deep fried it, it would have been good.
That's when you repurpose it again and deep fry it. Yeah.
Well, here's what got me to thinking. What if you took that, you smoke that belly that way, wrap it up, stick it in the refrigerator, let it cool overnight, just hang out, cube it up for burn ends the next day, put it back on the grill or the smoker, warm it up, and then sauce it, and then see what, man, I bet it would be good. It would be so good.
Something happens to it when it goes through that. Like it sets and refrigerates.
The texture of it just gets super soft. There's no hard spots. Like sometimes, you'll do pork belly burn ends, for instance, when you cube them up raw and then you put them on the pit. I've noticed a lot of times you cook them and they get really soft, but sometimes the way the meat sits on top, that piece gets hard.
Yes.
And there's no coming back from it. Even when you take them off, like when you take them off and they're all glazed up and sticky, they're pretty good then. Sometimes they're a little chewy, but if you let those cool off, they can get hard on you. Well, the way I did it, there wasn't any hard spots in it at all. So you can cube it up after that. I don't know. That's an experiment.
I wonder if it mellows out because, like you said, sometimes your pork bellies can get chewy.
Yeah.
But it's that lean meat.
That's all it is. It depends. I mean, bacon does it. Like there's some packs of bacon you get at the grocery store. The fat ratio is a little higher. It does that fat. When it gets crispy, it just melts in your mouth. You fry it up or put it in the oven. But then some of them where it's more lean, those pieces are tough and chewy. They have more like a hammy-like texture.
Yes.
And that's what it is. It's just where that belly meat, the lean, has been introduced to that cure and it gets it harder.
I almost think that also the pork belly, different pork bellies are absorbing the cure differently. So it almost, same brand, you can buy 2 packages, same time, and they could taste different.
Yep, yeah. I don't know what it is. It's got to be the difference in the bellies or wherever that is produced. I don't know. All I know is it's mighty, mighty good.
There's a lot of different ways you could cook pork belly.
Oh, that's I was just thinking of all the ways that just the top of my list or top of my head that I did. It's kind of Bubba Gump list. Pork belly. But I did it pulled. We already talked about that. I did the pork belly burn ends. I done bacon burn ends.
And that's where you took cured bacon.
Yeah, I done pork belly lollipops. I did candied apple pork belly. I did crispy pork belly for chicharrones. I did firecracker pork belly burn ends. And I did jerk pork belly. I mean, I've done pork belly's so good. It's so good. What's your favorite way?
I don't know. The one we had Saturday night was pretty good. That was one of the better bites of pork belly I've ever had.
The last 2 that I did, because the one before that was the chicharron style.
Yeah, that was good.
That one, my goodness.
But you chopped that one up and we ate it with like a taco.
Yeah. That's how you do it.
I almost feel like they're so different.
They are. It's crazy. You're taking this one fatty piece of meat that's, got a little lean to it, mainly fat, and you can do so many different things with it.
Because the one you did where you just smoked it and pulled it, it was like really good pulled pork.
Yeah. It's like super tender, super juicy.
Well, the chicharrones was almost like, I don't know.
Crispy, fatty part of a pork chop good. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, when you get those one pork chops and they got that ring of
that's
fat,
my favorite part.
And it just melts. It's crispy, but it's melting in your mouth crispy.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. And that is the best part of a pork chop. Usually it's from those front ones that are close to the It would be the spinalis of the pork. And that's what has all that fat marbling in, and it's got that crispy layer of fat around it. And when those get fried, man, my mom would make those. That makes a fat boy happy right there.
Michael cuts his off. He don't like
the fat. That, yeah.
And I'm like,
he just wants over that center cut chop.
Speaking of deep fried, you also deep fried an Uncrustable.
I did. That would come to me in the middle of the night.
Yeah, that wasn't on our list or our plan or nothing. You just showed up.
I went to the store to get some ingredients, and I said, you know what? I thought about this last night. I'm going to give it a go and see what it turns out like. I would just say to wait and see my reaction to that before you try it, and see if you decide and see if you want to try it for yourself.
You make it sound like you had a bad reaction.
I just want you to see the reaction. Don't judge. Just watch the video when it comes. And I don't know when that one's coming out.
This weekend.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna go ahead and push that one out.
Mm-hmm.
So, you took an Uncrustable. So we did two different ways. We did one frozen and we did one thawed, and there was no real difference.
Michael ate both of them, so I don't know what
they were. I don't think it made any difference.
I didn't think it would. If anything, the frozen one was a little easier to work with. The hardest part about that recipe is dipping it into that batter and getting it over in the hot grease, because you kind of got to handle it. There's no good way. You said something to me. What if you put it on a skewer? You probably.
Well, I just know the people.
Or I could have used like chopsticks.
Yeah, that's what they do at the donut place.
They use chopsticks or the big tweezers, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of a mass by the time you dip that thing in the batter.
It'd be hard to do that with chopsticks. So you took the Uncrustable. What was your batter?
It was like pancake mix, an egg, and some milk. Just basic pancake. Thinned down a little. The milk thins it to where it's not as thick as a pancake, I guess. That's it. So imagine a funnel cake. Funnel cake battered Uncrustable. And I said, I'm recrusting an Uncrustable. So they're Crustables. I turned it into a Crustable.
So you dipped it in the batter, you dropped it in 350 oil.
It cooks just like a donut. You leave it on one side for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes till it gets golden brown. Then you gently try to flip it over, which I splash grease all over myself. Flip it over, let it cook on that side. Then I flipped it back just to make sure and took it out, let it rest on a little wire rack. And then I just got plumb diabetic with it. I said, you know what would be good? Well, I was thinking, I said, I ain't trying to sugarcoat this. And I said, oh yeah, that would be good. I whipped out some powdered sugar and then put it in the little sieve, and powdered sugared the whole thing. And then I had some honey that I brought back from Arkansas. So I'm just going to go ahead and get guilty with it, Seeing a little. That's gluttony.
A little. For once in your life.
Put honey all over it. So it was a combination of a funnel cake, kind of beignet-ish.
Yeah.
Kind of peanut butter and jelly-ish. So watch the video.
I will
see if it's any good. I'm not going to tell you it's good. I'm not going to tell you
how can it be bad?
I'm not going to tell you.
I'm not that big.
How freaking unbelievable that might be. Of all the barbecue I've ate, that bite of Uncrustable may be one of the better things. It was just crazy. I was like, God, why is something this processed and horrible so good?
Well,
then I got to thinking about all the other things I could do like that. It's like, man, I'm just going to do one of these a month. What can I recrust?
Well, I had bought you an Uncrustable maker. So
I know.
Sky's the limit.
Uncrustables.
What was your idea, Tyler? We do a series called Will It Crustable?
Yeah, Will It Crustable.
Yeah, Will It Crustable. Yeah, I'm doing it. I mean, it's probably remind you of a fair food or something.
Yeah, it was very fair foodie.
Maybe they are. I didn't do any Google searching to see if anybody had fried.
Sure,
and I'm sure people have done it. Yeah, but
it was like everything was nice and warm on the inside. And I'm not the biggest fan of Uncrustables. They're okay,
It's a gimmick. If you want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, get you some white bread, spread you some peanut butter on one side or jelly, or put it in a bowl, mix it up, spread it out. Cut the crust off if you're that kind of person. That's what I never understood. Why somebody would pay for these when it's so easy to make I mean, for that box, that box of Uncrustables is pretty expensive.
Heck yeah, it is.
Mhm.
I could have bought 2 loaves of bread, a jar of peanut butter, and some grape jelly for that, probably. They made a bunch of them.
Kids love them.
I guess that's the allure of it. You can take that frozen Uncrustable, throw it in the kids' lunchbox, send them to school. It's thawed out by the time lunch gets around, and they're, happy as they be.
And apparently the NFL does too. Do you remember that story?
Oh,
where
yeah.
they have they eat like 600, or the NFL eats 600 a week or something like that.
Maybe we can do like a keto. Can you buy a keto bread and then the healthy peanut butter and the sugar-free jelly, and they won't be so bad. And then I'll fry it. Put sugar and honey on it.
Really?
That's what my evil laugh.
That would have been good for this week. Should have been April Fool's, man.
Yeah. Oh, man, that would have been a good one.
We got a nice healthy one. Now let's deep fry it. So Malc, I got some really good questions from the community.
Oh, good. Man, there was one. I saw it, and it was about pimento wood, and I had no clue where to get pimento wood.
There's like
you can
one
buy it
online.
online. You can look online. I mean, and order some. I don't know how authentic it is, because as far as I know, nobody's raising any over. They raise that in the States. I mean, I'm sure it would grow in right climate, but I mean, as far as I know, it's a Jamaican thing. I've never seen it outside, or anybody saying they were cooking over pimento wood.
I can't imagine the demand being that much for it over here. To get it. Have you? Somebody posted a rib membrane remover. They're selling it.
It's a gadget.
It's a gadget.
What is it? A butter knife or a spoon?
Pack of
what it
paper
look
towels. It looks like something the OBGYN uses.
Oh man,
I ain't gonna lie.
Huh? Yeah, I don't know it looks like a pair of pliers with some flat files or something on it, and I guess that goes up in there and lets you grab it, kind of like catfish, but it's reverse.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. If a doctor was coming at me with that, I'd be pretty scared, especially on my bits.
If I walk in your house and you have that laying on,
you're gonna think something's wrong, right?
Yeah, I'm probably leaving.
It's on a little metal tray with some sanitizers, some rubber gloves. What are you doing? Pulling membranes off what?
Y'all are into some weird stuff.
I'm sure it works.
Yeah, but people in the community were kind of laughing about that.
Yeah.
But Jason did say he uses his catfish skinners to remove rib membranes.
Good old paper towel will do the trick. Just get your finger under it and raise it up enough to where you can grab it with a paper towel and just go to yanking. Water does great too.
It'll help.
The sink, yeah. You hold that while you're pulling it, just run it under some water. Gentle water. It don't have to be full pressure. You're not trying to power wash it off. But that water pressure getting up under there helps it peel right off too.
Alan wondered, do you have any tips to keep pork steaks moist and tender? As soon as he pulls them off and then takes them out of the wrap, they tighten up really bad.
I think it's just the nature of the pork steak.
Kind of talking about the pork belly too. Yeah. Does the same thing.
Do the same thing. I mean, I'd leave them wrapped as long as you can, but they're going to toughen back up. That's just because it's the majority of that is a tight muscle. It may not have been cooked to where, it's like a fine line to get that thing super soft, but then get it to stay together too. So you have to kind of work on that, where you take it off at. I experiment with different temperatures where he's taking it to, because it needs to be up close to the 190s, probably less than 200 to keep that texture good and soft. But then you're going to risk some parts of it being tighter than others, because it's composed of a bunch of different muscles in that butt and the shoulder region where that steak's coming from.
Have you ever smoked it, let it rest, and then pulled it back out and char grilled it?
Yeah, like char grill glazed it.
Yeah, char grill glazed it.
We used to do it's pretty much a reverse sear pork steak. I mean, I never get that super fancy with a pork steak because it's cheap cut of meat, and usually you're just burning and turning them. But if you're wanting to, there have been some places where they did pork steak contests, and you were trying to really Take it up to the proper temperature, rest it a little bit, bring it back, set your glaze on it, on like a Weber with a set of grill grates and make it look really pretty. So, yeah, I've done it.
That's my thing with pork steak is there's some parts on it that is absolutely fantastic, and then there's some parts of it that
we got to think there's 4 or 5 muscle groups that's making up that butt there, and it's like the ones on the front end, if you get a steak with a lot of that money muscle in it and the tubes in it and all that's super soft. But when you get back closer to where the bone is, that meat gets tighter. It's a different texture, denser meat. More muscle probably works harder. I don't know, I guess is what makes it tighter like that, but it's just a different part of it. So, and I kind of like that, you know. It's not all going to be as soft as the money muscle end because those muscles do different things in that animal.
So it's just the nature of it.
Yeah, it's just the nature of it. Sometimes, I mean, cook it up to where it's, you know, pretty done and super soft. Don't just stop it short. And then let it rest and let it lock up. So that's one thing you can do is you can take it over a little bit because you know it's going to lock up and get a little tighter. So just take it a little bit further. But also, I think cooking them lower and slower helps that from, like, if you're hammering it 275, 300, you're cooking hot, it's going to be I've found that it gets tighter, denser than the meat tends to, as opposed to breaking it down slow, where each little fiber's casing's getting broke down on the protein. The How to Barbecue Right podcast is brought to you by our friends at Primo Grills. Shell, did you know that Primo is the only ceramic grill made right here in the good old USA?
What? Are you telling me that Primo Grills are proudly crafted here in the USA, ensuring top-notch quality and support for local craftsmanship?
I sure am. Plus, Primo Grill not only delivers mouth-watering flavor, but because of their innovative oval design and superior ceramic construction, Primo Grills also gives you a ton of cooking versatility.
Whether you're smoking low and slow or searing a steak to perfection, Primo Grills gives you the consistent heat distribution for mouth-watering results every time.
What she said, y'all. Y'all visit PrimoGrill.com and check them out.
So Martin had a question about plastic wrap. He said he watches a lot of barbecue videos and he sees a lot of them wrap their brisket, and pork butts in plastic wrap. Is there a reason for this? Does it hold in moisture better?
I don't know about that. That is a restaurant thing. That's where I first saw it. I was working, this was back in high school. I worked at Cracker Barrel for a little while. Everything we did had to be wrapped in plastic wrap and then wrapped in foil. And you see some guys
you were talking about the meat?
Yeah, meat. Even pans. Like when you pan something, like say you made green beans, you had to put plastic wrap over it and then foil over it. You couldn't just have foil. And I don't know if it had something to do. I don't know the food safety behind that or if there was a reason, but that's how they did it. And they said it steamed better.
Yeah.
So I would imagine it would. And it's like, it's a lot like cooking meat in one of those roasting bags. Like I know there was guys out on the comp trail years ago that were cooking briskets and butts in bags. And they'd still wrap them in foil, but they'd cook it in that bag too. And it was just supposed to be a better environment to make the texture better. I don't know if it's still a thing or not. I hadn't seen anybody do it in a long time.
Yeah. I remember when we first started like making friends that had barbecue restaurants, I was kind of amazed when I first realized that everybody wraps everything in plastic wrap.
Yeah.
Then
that may be a food handling, thing. I don't know.
I always thought that because it sort of tightens to the meat, so bacteria has less of a chance of getting in, and then you wrap it in foil to retain heat as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a...
At the restaurants you worked in, did you see it all the time?
Yeah. Like
plastic wrap, then full?
Yeah. That's how we did our briskets, ribs, everything. It was wrapped like that. So.
I mean, that's common.
And I've done ribs like it. It's just a pain in the butt to unwrap, and they don't look near as good to me. You're handling it way more to get all that plastic wrap off.
I mean, if you're doing a butt and just going to
But the plastic wrap's not going to burn. It's not like, I'm melting this plastic onto it. It can take the heat. Now, I don't know. There is going to be a point to where it can't take it. Mm-hmm. It's probably over 350. But I don't know exactly what it is. But where you're smoking at, we were always smoking in the twos, to around 250, give or take a little, and it holds up fine. It holds up fine to
that. Russ kind of settled something for us.
Uh-oh. Controversial settled?
Rose. We've been saying Rose, the sauce, the really good sauce at the store.
Rose, how you say it?
No, it's Rayo's.
Oh, wow. Tomato. Rayu. How do you say it? Rayu?
Ooze.
Ooh.
Reus.
Reus.
Is that how you've been saying it?
I say rouse.
Yeah, I've been saying rouse.
Give back my Italian card, I guess.
So Blair, he's wanting to cook some ribs using the Memphis dry rub recipe. The only hitch is that he needs to smoke them the day before.
Mm-hmm.
Should he get within an hour of being done and then continue and finish them right before the event?
I'd cook them all the way done and then just warm them back up. To warm them up, the best way is going to be to warm them up wrapped, not unwrapped. So they need to be either individually wrapped. You can put them all in a pan, put some foil over it, get them hot, get them back hot. And then when you take them out, redust them and then let them set in the air of whatever. If you're doing it on the pit, let them set right on the grate. If you're doing it in the oven, just expose them, unwrap them, put your rub on there, bring them back that way. That way it's still going to have that texture. Because you got to get some steam or something to reheat them.
And that's going to give you more moisture.
It will. And it's going to give you more moisture and it's going to make it a wet rib. But as soon as you come out, you take the full off or unwrap them, however you have them up, spread them out, hit them with some more dry seasoning. I would skip like the whole step of those dry ribs. I wouldn't hit any of them when I wrapped them. I would just take them off the pit, wrap them up, get them cooled fast as possible, stick them in the fridge, bring them out the next day. If they're already wrapped, just put them in the oven, check them. I mean, it's probably going to take, it depends on how many you are. I mean, you can't give a time on that. It should be about 45 minutes to an hour, but it depends on how many it is, how they're stacked up, if they're individual, if they're spread out, whatever. Figure out how, you just want to bring them back up to 140 and then unwrap them, hit them with some seasoning, let them go exposed so that seasoning kind of dries, soaks up some of that moisture. And then when you get ready to plate them, you can always do a real final dust with them. I mean, and so take into account, you're going to be putting all this seasoning on them throughout that process. You don't want to get them overly salty. So just kind of watch how you're doing them. But I would hit them pretty good to start. Wouldn't put on any more until I got ready to finish them. And that's how I would do them. And then redust them on a plate and it'll be good as new.
At Memphis in May, when we would do like lunches for people at Memphis in May, that was exactly how you
do it. Yeah.
You'd cook them the day before, wrap them up, and then we'd put them back on the pit.
Warm them up, unwrap them, hit them with some rub. Here's Memphis Dry. If you want them wet, hit them with sauce.
Yeah.
And then.
Oh, you got to serve the Memphis Dry rib at Memphis in May. I remember the news crew was going around because they always do footage at Memphis in May, and you were like one of the only people that had good looking ribs because everybody else's ribs were probably raw or whatever.
Yeah, they were just cooking them. Yeah.
You had good looking ribs on there, but they were stone cold. And they were like, "Can we get some footage of that?"
Heck yeah. Let me see these ribs. Got a grill full, ready to go almost. Give me an hour. Come back. You can eat all you want. I bet you they did too.
So Brett, he did a poll on the community. He is got to cook for an ancillary contest, and he was wondering, do you prefer pasta or rice?
That's tough.
I went pasta.
I'm a pasta man. I mean,
you love rice.
I do love rice, but I'm a pasta man though. Give me some barbecue spaghetti. Give me some mac and cheese. Here's what you do.
You love spaghetti?
Do that smoked mac and cheese, and then go ahead and have you some burn ends ready and top it with that, and you're going to win that ancillary.
Or even pulled pork.
Yeah, pulled pork will work.
What's your vote? I already know what your vote is.
Oh, yeah. No, it's pasta. Yeah. I would give up rice any day of the week over
Me too.
Pasta.
Oh, yeah. If I had to pick, like, am I going to eat rice or am I going to eat pasta? I mean, it ain't good for you, but I love it.
Somebody else suggested potato for the starch instead of pasta or rice for an ancillary. I was like, I second that. Do you remember this time? It was a long, long time ago. We judged a contest and we had to judge the ancillary part and something, I don't even know what happened, but they were a little delayed. And by the time all the entries got to us, everything was cold.
Yep, except for loaded baked potato. And that was an awesome baked potato. I don't know if it was good just because we'd ate so much bad stuff.
Everything was cold, yeah.
It's like, man, this potato is on point. Like, I would order it. This is how I want when I go to a steakhouse. I want my potato to come out like this.
And everything else is sitting there getting worse. That potato's probably sitting there getting better.
Mm-hmm. Potato would be a bad idea. I mean, I would do those hash browns, and then you could load them with whatever you wanted, like a loaded hash brown on the shingle. You know what I mean? Like the little McDonald's style ones that I did like a tailgate thing with them or something.
You smeared cream cheese on it, and then you put pulled pork, nacho cheese.
It was like a loaded hash brown.
Yeah.
But individual.
It was so good.
You could pick them up, and they got crispy because I let them go on the pellet grill first until they got really crispy and done. Brought them out, topped them, just let that get good and hot. Everything's cooked on it. You're just warming it up.
That is a good ancillary because they'd fit really good in the box.
Yep. That would be good. I don't know, man. It's just hard to beat a mac and cheese. A good mac and cheese.
It would stay hot too.
It would stay hot, and you could top it with whatever you wanted.
That's where,
like that one Will did for our contest, that buffalo mac and cheese. I think that would do good as an ancillary.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you had grilled chicken in it.
Yeah,
you get that extra flavor.
I get down with it.
So Mike, he said he cooked a prime brisket, did everything right. 16 hours, wrapped it in butcher paper, got it up to just perfect temp, let it rest, did
buttery,
the whole thing.
It was soft.
He said it was nice, tender, juicy, but it just tastes like smoked chuck roast to him.
I mean,
I've had some briskets.
Chuck roast cooked like a brisket is pretty good.
He was basically saying, is it worth the time and effort? I've had some briskets that do taste like chuck roast to me that I'm just like, eh. And then I've had
sometimes
some
you do so much to it that it just takes away.
Yeah.
But
I've had some briskets that'll
just melt in your mouth. Pandemonium, yeah.
So I get what he's saying.
It's hard to beat a salt and pepper brisket, man.
That's some of the best I've ever had.
A lot of it has to do with the wood you smoked. I mean, if you smoked on a pellet grill, it probably didn't. Yeah, it probably tasted more like roast than brisket. But you cooked it over real wood, and it shouldn't taste like a chuck roast then.
Yeah.
What kind of grill did you cook it on? Did it say?
It didn't.
I bet it was a pellet grill. I mean, ain't nothing wrong with pellet grill, but to cook a good one on a pellet grill takes me like 24 hours almost, because it takes a long time to let it go slow and then let it develop and then let that crust happen. And
it's no stick burner.
It's no stick burner. And you can do that in, 8-10 hours. I don't know. I mean, I get what he's saying. It could be a lot of things.
I get what he's saying.
Flavor wise or injection, you could use to amp it up if you want it to taste different. You can make it taste like what you want it to taste like. Salt and pepper goes a long way on a brisket.
So Chemo was wanting some names of good smoked sausage. And of course I said Country Pleasin'.
Number one.
But then all the other comments is what got me interested, because there was a ton of suggestions that I've never even heard of.
Let's hear some of them.
So there's a Mountain View in central to northeastern Oklahoma that's supposed to be really good. Mountain View Meat Company.
Never heard of it.
Kroger Private Selection brand has a smoked garlic sausage.
That's pretty good.
Never seen it.
I'll be looking for it.
I'm going to look for that one. I want to try it. Have you ever tried the jalapeno cheddar links from Sam's Club?
I don't think so. What brand is it?
I guess it's a Maker's Mark.
Oh, probably. Polk's is another good one.
Some people suggested Polk's.
Yeah.
Some people suggested Conecuh.
Conecuh's good.
And then there's a Maybell's. Have you ever heard of that? I don't know if it's Mabelle's or Maybell's.
Never heard of that one.
It's made in Summit, Mississippi.
Huh.
Which is right outside of Malcom.
Yeah.
Basically
I had never heard
Louisiana.
of there's one down in Hattiesburg that Charles brought me. I think he got it super low. And it was fire. It was as good as Country Pleasin', and I can't remember.
It might be the Maybell's.
It might have, I don't know. Is it down around Hattiesburg?
Yeah.
It might be then.
It's right north of Kennett.
Yeah.
Louisiana. Like, we probably drive through there going to New Orleans.
Yeah, maybe. That's not close to Hattiesburg, though. Hattiesburg's on the other side.
Yeah.
I think it's, I don't know. I'll have to see if Charles remembers the brand of that sausage, because it was jammed. There's some people in Mississippi that make some sausage now. Was there any other brands that stood out to you?
Those are the high ranking ones. But I'm really interested in that Private Selection.
Yeah, what was it?
Garlic. Yeah.
I would try it for sure. I mean, I love sausage. Summer is kind of sausage season to me. We grill a lot of it because it's just quick, and you can throw it on a bun and top it however you want to, or make a sausage and cheese plate. I mean,
if you go to anybody's house for a get together in the summer, or really any time,
they're going to have
They're gonna have a sausage and cheese plate. James wanted to know, are wood chucks necessary for great smoke flavor on the drum?
Chunks. Wood chucks. I was like, you threw me there. Wood chunks. It depends. I mean, a lot of times if I'm using lump, I don't put too much extra wood on it because you get some from the lump. But if I'm running briquettes in it, I always put a few. But whenever I'm putting wood on a drum, I don't put much, just maybe 2 or 3 chunks and space it out. So I think you do get a good flavor with it. Is it going to have good flavor without it? Probably. I mean, it depends on, everybody has a different tolerance for smoke flavor. So what might be,
some people want it real smoky.
Yeah, what might be right for some is too strong for me, or what I like might be too strong for some other people. I've had people say that. And that's usually, if you're just getting started in barbecue and you're not really used to eating a lot of smoked stuff, or your families or your friends aren't, I wouldn't use a whole lot. And that's why I would go to the pellet grill, because, start people out that way. And then get into some of your heavier woods and your heavier smoke, different types of grills that's going to give you more smoke flavor, where you're actually burning the wood and stuff. Because it just depends on what level of smoke. Now, I will say on a drum, you're going to get more authentic smoke flavor than most pits, especially over a pellet grill.
Even without actual wood, you'll get
you'll still get
flavor.
that flavor. Yeah. Yep.
And the last thing I got for you, what is your order at Lamberts Cafe? And I feel like we need to tell what Lamberts Cafe is.
So there's only 2 of them that I know of. There's one in Sykeston, Missouri. That's the original. And then there's one down in Gulf Shores. Do they have any more other than that? It's a Foley, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, Foley. Do you know what Lamberts is?
So Lamberts is it is a family, think of Cracker Barrel. But
they got a bunch. They got one in the Ozarks. They got one in Sykeston, Foley.
Franchised out, haven't they? But think of it as like a Cracker Barrel with not as much. I don't know. Their menu is pretty big, but then they give you all this free stuff to eat too. Like, it's the home of the throwed rolls. So if you've ever seen clips of a video or anything where the people are walking around the restaurant and they're catching these big yeast rolls that are just fresh out of the oven, that's Lamberts.
And they're delicious rolls.
Oh, it's worth it just for the rolls. Like, you can eat an easy 6-pack before your food ever gets there.
But they're so big.
And they're so big. And they've got butter on the table that's ready. It's like the little spreadable.
Yeah.
And then they'll pour you some Sagar molasses if you want to put molasses on them. And then they're just walking around with that. And they've got like fried okra, these potatoes. What else is some of the pass around stuff? Do you remember the okra and the rolls?
It's like a tomato onion thing.
Yeah, I don't usually get that.
I don't
macaroni
mess with that.
Yeah,
macaroni and tomatoes.
I don't mess with that. Peas, I think.
Fried okra is good.
But anyway, so they walk around and they give you, it's like free appetizers pretty much while you order your entree. Now, it's country cooking. So they're going to have fried chicken. They're going to have, they're going to have vegetable plates. Whatever vegetable you want, they got, usually.
Yeah, it's a huge list of vegetables.
Yeah.
And they're really
chicken and
good.
dumplings is a good one. My favorite, what I usually get, is the pork steak. And because it comes from that area of Missouri, where I guess the barbecued pork steak anyway, to me, originated there. Because we always had them. My mom always fried. If we had pork chops, it was fried pork chops. And sometimes that family pack, they would slip the pork steaks in there. You get 3 pretty center cut chops and you have these pork steak. And I always liked the pork steak because it had more, the good parts of a butt in it.
I don't think you knew about barbecue pork steak till you started.
So I went to Murfreesboro.
Yeah.
Well, Sykeston is not too far from Murfreesboro. That area of kind of Southwest Illinois meets South Boot Hill, Missouri. Think of the Southeast Missouri. And they got the cooking pork steaks in that area, and they perfected them. And Lamberts is one of the restaurants where if I go there, and usually that's when we would stop, coming back or going to Murfreesboro to do a barbecue contest, or going to St. Louis. It's like halfway for us to St. Louis to stop at Sykeston.
On our way back from St. Louis, we'll stop there.
I couldn't get Austin to go this last time.
Really?
Yeah, I was like trying to get. He's like,
man, you get a glass of sweet tea, and it comes in this giant mug of a thing. Like,
it is hard to finish driving that. 2 hours?
Yeah, I guess.
After eating rolls and all the stuff, and then pork steak.
Because you do not want to drive. You want to lay down.
You know what's good? Their fried chicken's really good.
I like chicken and dumplings is usually what I get. And they have a really good chicken salad.
Their chicken and dressing's good, too.
You get the ham sometimes.
Yeah, I've gotten the ham. It's just like Thanksgiving ham or Christmas ham.
They have fried hog jowl.
I've never got that there, I don't think. I need to try that.
Yeah.
Next time we go, we're going to everybody orders something different, and we're going to family style share it because it's so much. When you get fried chicken, I want to say they give you 4 or 5 pieces of fried. Like, who could eat that much fried chicken? Like, you can't eat the whole pork steak. I mean, it's as big as the plate.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's huge.
What's your order?
Chicken and dumplings.
Yeah, they're good too. It's a trough of chicken and dumplings. Like, you're not gonna leave. If you leave Lamberts hungry, something's wrong with you. You're anti-American.
I guess somebody in the community was heading there and wanted to know.
It's all good, but try the pork steak. Which one were they going to? The Missouri one or the Alabama one? That's the only 2 I've been to.
I will say the Missouri one is a mile ahead of the Alabama one.
Yeah.
As far as my experience.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Alabama one's just so packed. They're both packed, but being that close to the beach down there, that's why it's just tourist central, and you better get there and line up before they are open.
9:00 for
their lunch.
10:30 lunch. Yeah.
You can hit the one in Missouri and there's not be a crowd. Now, some days, like you go in there on Sunday, it's packed no matter what. But they do take like charter buses and stuff like that. So people traveling, they stop in there. Because it used to be, and I don't know what the prices are now, but it used to be really, really reasonable. Like it's not expensive. Most expensive entree is probably $15-$16, I would imagine.
Something like that. I don't know what their prices are lately.
Now. Yeah, don't quote me now. I haven't been since COVID.
No, we stopped on the way coming back from St. Louis, but last year.
That's been, heck, I've been in the past year then.
Well, Malc, that's all I have for you this week.
All right. Well, Tyler, what do we got going on with our new contest? We're doing barbecue memes or something?
So we're going to give away everything you need to make your own smoked sausage. That's going to include a Grilla Mammoth as well as a Meet Your Maker sausage or meat grinder. And so we kind of wanted to do this right since it was the biggest contest we've ever done. So last week on the podcast, we kind of discussed it. And I really like the idea of everybody sharing your favorite barbecue meme or making your own barbecue meme.
I love that idea.
It's really great. So if you go to the pin post at the top, if you're listening to this on Friday, it's going to be live until April 11th. So you have 2 full weeks to get your barbecue meme in. Go ahead and go to the comments of that post your favorite barbecue meme. And then in-house, we're just going to vote on our favorite. And there's probably going to be some other goodies and stuff thrown in for like a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th place as well. So make sure you get that entered in. And that's on Facebook.com/group/H2Q community.
Do we have any rules on how risque they could be? Not yet.
Yeah, don't hurt Facebook's feelings, and you won't hurt our feelings.
Yeah.
But, if you post
don't violate community guidelines.
Yeah. And just a tip.
Anti-religious, political, whatever orientation you are, leave all that out.
Yeah.
Let's keep it barbecue centric.
If you're trying to win a pellet grill, maybe no like pellet grill memes, because I see those from time to time in barbecue groups, but
you can do whatever you want on that.
That's just a pro tip for winning.
Probably won't win. I still want to see them. I'm gonna laugh.
And we'll probably share some of our favorite ones here on the podcast as well. So,
but that's on the Let's Get Cooking community on Facebook.
Yes, sir.
Tuesday, you're going to be on Greg Grimpy.
I will be. This will be month 4. We're already through 3 months in 2025.
I'm looking at the summer calendar. Like, it's filled up.
April Fool's Day, right? You think I can do that to Greg? I didn't. Fools. I'll be there, Greg, if you listened.
And that's it.
But yeah, that's all we got coming up.
Yeah. Well, we are doing a taco contest at the shop.
When is that?
May 3rd.
That's not in our office. This is come to the shop and cook your best tacos. You can probably go to Malcom's shop Facebook page and see if Austin's got it all the details posted on there, how to sign up.
You've got to turn in 6 tacos.
Mm-hmm.
There's no public element, so you don't have to feed the public or anything. You can cook your meat at home because we're only got a couple hours for it.
But you get to assemble your taco here.
You have to assemble your taco here, and you turn it in. You got to turn in 6 tacos. You get a little 6 taco holder.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Soft, hard, crunchy combo, double decker. Anything you want.
It all goes. As long as it fits in the little taco holder, you're good.
Do you like the double-decker tacos?
No, I want soft.
Because you don't like the beans?
Yeah.
Do you like them, Tyler? You know what a double-decker taco is?
Like where they double stack the tortilla?
It's like a soft taco and then a spread of refried beans and then a crunchy taco and they wrap it around it and fill the taco,
I never had that, but it sounds good.
Oh, yeah. Taco Bell's got it.
Sounds like we need to make a trip.
I don't know if they still have double-decker. They used to. A double-decker.
But first place wins $1,000.
6 tacos win $1,000.
Yep.
Come on. And it's probably limited to, how many teams y'all limited to?
Usually 20.
20. So if you want to shot at $1,000, somebody's gonna win it.
1 in 20 chance.
6 tacos. Is that the only category?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's no best cheese dip or
That'd have been a good idea.
I was going for margarita.
Margarita. Yeah, well, there's so much.
We might throw in an ancillary real quick. Be like, if you'd like to enter.
Should be. If y'all want to get me here, you better do margarita.
That's a good idea. We'll throw that one in.
After party at La Siesta. Go get some
The good thing about these parking lot contests is it's kind of like just going and hanging out. It's kind of like tailgating.
That's all.
Yeah.
It's the tailgate. Hang out. You get a chance to win $1,000.
I make Bloody Marys every morning, and we usually order like sausage biscuits for everybody. So
there's coffee, biscuits, Chick-fil-A. You never know.
I got Chick-fil-A last time.
We just need to have cheese dip for everybody. Have nacho chips and cheese dip.
Oh, I'm busting out the nacho cheese machine for that day.
That's not Mexican. That's more ballpark. You can't just do the nacho cheese machine for everything. Now, if you,
I beg to differ.
Can we vote Malcom off the island?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Y'all are way too excited about this nacho machine.
Well, if you'd like to connect with Malcom, it's HowToBBQRight on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and of course, YouTube. If you'd like to connect with me, it's Miss Southern Shell on Instagram and TikTok.
Well, hey, we appreciate y'all hanging out with us this week, and we will be back next week. A special guest coming, Shell, Mr. Alonzo Katub, Gulf Coast Smoke, all the way up from Houston. When I think of Gulf Coast, I think of like Alabama, Mississippi. I don't think of Texas, but he's from Texas, so he's going to be coming over. I'm sure we'll be talking Texas barbecue, IBCA cooking, because he does a lot of contests, and he's got a podcast, and him and his wife do it, and
I think
it'll be interesting.
I think the first time we ever met them was actually we were at like Orange Beach, our Gulf Coast, and so I just always assumed for the longest time that that's where he lived. Yeah.
Seems like you're right. Cooking at World Foods or something.
Yeah, it was World Foods.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, we're looking forward to that, and I hope y'all tune in next week. We will see y'all then. We gone.